So this dot name, assignment operator name, okay? This dot screen, assignment operator screen. This dot keyboard, assignment operator keyboard, okay? So now let's actually add in some more lines of code here. So here I'm gonna paste in some lines of code, and then I'm gonna explain to you what's going on here, okay? So here, as you can see, these are the lines of code that I actually pasted here. First of all, I actually created a getter, get name, for this name instance variable. And then I actually created a getter again for this screen instance variable, okay? And finally, I created a get keyboard method, a getter for this keyboard instance variable. And notice that I didn't actually create setters for these instance variables, because these instance variables are actually declared as actually final, and these are constants, okay? So once we assign a value to these instance variables, we cannot change that value later, okay? So we don't need to actually create setters for these instance variables that are actually declared as final, okay? So now let's actually override the toString method that we actually inherit from the object class, okay? So this computer class implicitly inherits all of the features and behaviors that are inside of the object class. So we can access the toString method here, toString. And now, as you can see, we can override this toString method, okay? So let's actually delete this line of code here that says return super.toString. And now we can actually put in our own implementations inside of this method. So here, I'm gonna actually paste in a line of code here, and then I'm gonna explain to you what's going on here. So here I am saying that return string.format, and here inside of these double quotes, I am actually specifying the format of my string value, okay? %s, so this %s token is actually referring to this get name argument, okay? And here I have a %n, this is actually a new line character, space, %s, again, this token here, this %s is actually for this get screen method, okay? And %n, this is actually a new line character, space, and I have a %s here that is actually referring to this get keyboard method here, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. And now let's actually create an abstract method. So as you can see here, I actually created this abstract method here, and notice that I actually didn't actually put in curly braces after this method name in order to put in our own implementations, because abstract methods cannot have body, okay? So if I actually put in curly braces here, as you can see, it's now showing us an error, and it says that abstract methods cannot have a body, okay? So we cannot actually create a body for this abstract method, and the access modifier of this method is public. And as you can see, this method is actually abstract. The return type of this method is double, and the name of this method is evaluate per performance, okay? And this method actually is an abstract method, and the other classes that actually inherit from this computer class need to actually create a body for this method, okay? Otherwise, those classes would wind up with actually a compilation error, and I'll show you in a second how you can actually use this method. But because I told you that a computer by itself is actually an abstract concept, okay? We declared this class as an actually abstract class, okay? And this class has actually an abstract method, evaluate performance. Okay, if I ask you to evaluate the performance of computer, you may ask me that what kind of computer? A desktop computer, a laptop computer, a smartphone computer, or a tablet computer. So this method is actually an abstract method, okay? And the other classes that are actually called concrete classes, such as desktop computer, laptop computer, as you can see, smartphone computer, tablet computer, these classes are concrete classes, okay? And if these classes actually extend from this computer class, as you can see, they need to actually create a body for this method. They need to actually override this method and create a body for this method and specify what's the actually performance, how they can actually evaluate the performance of those specific computers, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. And remember that you cannot create an object from an abstract class, Okay, so let's actually go inside of this desktop computer.java file here. And now let's actually, after the class name, just type in here, extends, okay, computer. And now it is now showing us an error, okay? And let's actually hover our mouse pointer over the error area and see what happens. Class desktop computer must either be declared abstract, okay, or implement abstract method evaluate performance in computer, okay? So because we are actually saying that desktop computer extends computer, we either need to actually declare this class as an abstract class, or we must actually override the abstract method that is actually inside of the actually computer class. Okay, so now let's actually put in some lines of code, and then I'll explain to you what's going on here. So first of all, let's actually declare some instance variables here inside of this desktop computer. And as you can see here, every desktop computer has a mouse, every desktop computer has a CPU power, and every desktop computer has a RAM, okay? And as you can see here, my first instance variable is private string mouse. My second instance variable is private double CPU power, and my third instance variable is private double RAM, okay? So now let's actually create a constructor for this desktop computer class. So here I'm gonna actually paste in this constructor here, okay? And as you can see, this is my constructor for this desktop computer class. And the access modifier of this constructor is public. The name of this constructor is desktop computer, and this constructor actually accepts some arguments, okay? And the first argument, as you can see, is of type string name. The second argument, as you can see, is of type string screen, and the third argument, as you can see, is again of type string keyboard. And here this fourth argument is of type string mouse. Here, as you can see, this fifth argument is actually of type double CPU power, and here this sixth argument, as you can see, is of type double, and the name of this argument is RAM. So here, because we are actually inheriting all of the features and behaviors that are actually inside of this computer class, we need to initialize the constructor of the superclass. So as you can see, inside of this computer class, we have this constructor here, and inside of this desktop computer, I need to initialize the constructor of the superclass by just typing super name screen keyboard. Okay, as you can see, this computer class, as you can see, this constructor actually accepts three arguments: name, screen, keyboard. And inside of this desktop computer, as you can see here, this super here actually accepts three arguments: name, screen, keyboard. Okay, now, and here, as you can see, I am actually instantiating my instance variables that I actually declared in this class. This.mouse, assignment operator mouse, okay? This.CPU power, assignment operator CPU power, this.RAM, assignment operator RAM, okay? So now I'm gonna actually paste in some lines of code here, and then I'm gonna actually explain to you what's going on here, okay? So as you can see here, first of all, I actually pasted this line of code here, this method, okay? And the access modifier of this method is public. The return type of this method is string get mouse, okay? This is actually a getter for this mouse instance variable, okay? And here I actually created a setter for this mouse instance variable, okay? Public void set mouse, okay? And then I actually created a getter for the CPU power instance variable, get CPU power, and then I created a setter for the CPU power instance variable. And as you can see here, inside of this method, I actually created an if statement. If the value of this argument, okay, CPU power, is less than or equal to number 0, then throw new illegal argument exception. CPU power must be greater than 0, okay? And then here I am actually assigning the value of this argument to this CPU power instance variable. And then I created a getter for this RAM instance variable. And here I created a setter for this RAM instance variable. And as you can see here, inside of this setter, I actually created an if statement. If the value of this RAM instance variable is less than or equal to number 0, then throw new illegal argument exception, RAM must be greater than number 0. And then here I am assigning the value of this argument to this instance variable, this.ram assignment operator RAM. Okay,